Hey guys, hope you're having a great one, and today I'm going to be teaching you the importance of editing your photos. Now, I don't mean editing it in Lightroom. What I mean is editing it in Photoshop and how to really take your photos to the next level. I'm going to be using car photos today specifically, as I recently went out to shoot some, but this applies to basically any type of photography, and that is using Photoshop and whatnot to remove distractions in the background, and you will see that it really does make a huge difference. Let's quickly hop into Lightroom and I'm going to show you some examples of what I mean. So I got a couple of photos here. I'm just going to show you a couple of befores and afters. I'll throw them up on screen as well, and as you can see that there is quite a lot of discrepancy with the kind of before and after edits. A lot of stuff has been removed, especially all these little distractions in the background. Some photos I removed them, some photos I didn't, based on how difficult it was. For example, here I didn't remove all of these little billard things because that's a lot of work, but you can see that I did remove all these signs and whatnot. You can see that overall the image is a lot cleaner. There's a lot less distractions around, so it really does make a difference. Here, this is a good example of another one. This stuff in the background is very disturbing. This sign, these little pillar stone column things, and this dude with his motorcycle. Remove that, and as you can see, the image overall just looks so much cleaner, so much better. And there's another great example here. All the stuff around the road, what is it called, the lane indicator or whatever on the middle of the road, that yellow stripe, centered that as well. Removed all this stuff in the background, and you can see that it just makes a huge difference and just overall a lot cleaner. So it's important that you actually pay attention to what's going on in the background of the photos. Of course, it's a lot easier and you'll save yourself a lot of time and effort if you actually just shoot to avoid having stuff in the background, distractions. But in case you can't, it's always great to know how to remove all of these distractions in the background, so I'm going to teach you that quickly today. So we're going to use this photo right here as an example. So we're going to want to right click on this photo and click edit in Photoshop. Now that we're in Photoshop, you always want to duplicate your layers just so that you kind of have a clean background, a clean image that you can always refer back to. So the first thing I would say is what really stands out and what's really distracting. Obviously, we have this kind of billard thing behind the car, this red and white guardrail, and then I would say on the right side here, we've got this kind of white building in the background or whatever that is. So those are the main things that I think would be removing. These little huts here, I think we can leave those. Those look a little bit like they're part of the environment, whereas this kind of white thing looks a little bit strange. Most of the time, the easiest and quickest method is to literally get your lasso tool. It's over here on the left side, or you can just press L, circle the thing you want to remove. Let's do that. And then you want to hit Shift and Backspace, Content Aware Fill, color adaptation, and everything else leave it as it is and click OK. And most of the time it'll do a pretty decent job. Keep in mind that, you know, a lot of this stuff is going on social media, so if I zoom out all the way and kind of have it the size of it would be on my phone screen, as you can see, it doesn't look that bad. If we zoom in, it might look a little bit strange and weird. What I always suggest to do once you do a content aware fill is to come over to the left side, hit S or get the clone stamp tool, and at the top you want to set your opacity to 50%, and that way you can kind of blend things in together more and make it look a little bit more natural. And as you can see, before and after, we've removed that, and from a distance it's not really even noticeable. Next, let's head over to these kind of guardrails here. Now what you want to do is, because they're really close to the subject, it is going to be a little bit more difficult. You can't really use a lasso tool, so we're going to have to use the pen tool. So what you want to do is hit P, or come over here to the left side, click pen tool. So what you want to do is really zoom in and make sure that when you make your selection, you're going to make sure that you're selecting only the things that you want to remove. You simply click and drag to kind of adjust the points and play around with that. And as you're clicking and dragging, you can always press spacebar to move the point around as you're dragging it. And you really want to get a little bit close, really close to the subject. Put that there. And then you can press Option or Control, I believe, or Alt to adjust the points so that you get these sharp corners. We've made our selection now, so we're just going to, all we're going to do is right click now, click make selection. Usually I like to set the feather radius based on the kind of size of the image. Obviously, if we're working with something that's like a 33 megapixel photo from a Sony A7IV, then we could probably set the feather radius to a little bit higher. Then once again, we're going to do a shift content shift delete and content aware fill. Keep in mind it's not perfect every single time, so there will be times where you do it and maybe it thinks that, oh, you're trying to replace this thing with part of your subject or whatnot, so it can get a little bit wonky. In that case, you're going to have to use your clone stamp tool and do it manually. You're gonna hit option and kind of select the part you want. Let's just remove this selection, and you can see it's done a pretty good job, but I feel like this gray area over here looks a little bit strange. So I'm just going to undo that and keep my selection. That way I don't actually accidentally alter the car over here. I'm gonna select some bushes over here and just, you know, gently and kind of more randomly, sporadically place those around here. And let's remove that. And as you can see, obviously we've got these kind of harsh edges, so what you want to do is just kind of go over those a little bit very quickly. Always be random. It's a bit hard to not be random, you know, because we're humans, but the more random you kind of make it, the more natural it seems. So as you can see there, it looks pretty good. Can't really tell anything was there. And now it's the same thing for the guardrail behind. I'm just going to select that. I'm being quite rough, obviously, because I've already actually have edited copies of these. So always keep that in mind. The more time you take and the better you do it, the more precise, the better results you're going to get. And, you know, if you're going to do this for some kind of paid work or something like that, I really suggest you make sure that it's perfect. We make our selection now, content aware fill. And as you can see, what I was talking about earlier, over here on the right side, it's actually kind of duplicated a bit of the top of the car, but that's not an issue because obviously we're just gonna hop into our clone stamp tool, even this thing out a little bit. I think that it looks a little bit smudged. I think the most important thing is to kind of just make sure that it looks consistent with the rest and surrounding images. I'm going to get rid of this part of the car here. We're going to remove that. Keep in mind, it's all, you can always kind of blend things together and later. Obviously we have a little bit of a weird thing going on here, so I'm gonna quickly actually remove all of these kind of yellowish bright spots because I feel like they're quite distracting and weird. They kind of pop against the dark green background of the trees. It's always good to be a little bit sporadic, get it to look and feel a little bit natural. And there we have it. That was quite quick, quite easy. Obviously it gets a little bit tiring and time consuming if you're editing something like 50 photos like I did, but to be honest, if you're someone who really cares about your photos, then this is a great skill to do, and it's actually enjoyable sometimes because you get some really nice photos. I mean, I'll throw up a couple more examples up here for you guys to see, and I have to say that the difference is staggering. So there you have it. That's basically it. A very quick and brief tutorial. And if you're interested in taking your photography to the next level, then stick around, as I will have another video soon announcing a coaching platform where you can learn from me directly. So if you enjoyed this video, I would definitely appreciate a like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought down below, and I'll see you guys around.